The vast majority of actors you know worked their tails off to land their big breakthrough roles and achieve fame and fortune. There's a good reason why Southern California is saturated with failed actors who wound up working in dead-end service jobs after devoting much of their early lives to try to make it. The chances of making it in Tinseltown, regardless of how much time, money, and energy you devote to your craft, are slimmer than winning the lottery. That's why it's nothing short of shocking when you discover that some celebs, who are now household names, ended up finding immense success with little to no experience or training. Join Factsverse as we present famous actors who landed big roles with no experience at all. Channing Tatum. Actor Channing Tatum made his first appearance in front of a camera, at least on a professional level, as a fashion model, but he wound up getting spotted by a talent agent when he was simply walking down the streets of Miami, Florida, minding his own business. At first, he starred in a slew of music videos before eventually landing a couple minor TV commercial parts. In 2004, however, his acting career really got rolling when he appeared in a relatively minor role on CSI Miami. The rest of his Hollywood success story is history. Jennifer Lawrence. This actress and Kentucky native landed her big accidental break when she was vacationing in New York City when she was 12. While hanging out with her family in Union Square, a talent agent spotted her, and in a matter of weeks, she was a bona fide teenage model. Lawrence went on to make her screen debut in 2006, appearing in an episode of Monk. The Hunger Games actress was validated with her first Oscar nomination 4 years later for her performance in Winter's Bone. She took home an Oscar in 2012 for her performance in the dramedy Silver Linings Playbook. Since then, she has continued to rack up Oscar nods for her roles in films like Joy and American Hustle. Marilyn Monroe. The original blonde bombshell, born Norma Jean Mortensen, spent most of her childhood bouncing around foster homes and poorly funded orphanages. Despite being known for her platinum blonde hairdo, she was actually a natural brunette. While working at a plant, a photographer just so happened to see her and snapped a photo of her. A few days later, he published the pic in a magazine. Marilyn, seeing that she was being handed a real opportunity, decided to dye her hair blonde and begin working as a model. After finding success in that field, she took acting classes with the hope of one day becoming a sensation like her idol, Lana Turner. In 1947, she was cast in her first movie, Dangerous Years. Marilyn went on to appear in several highly profitable and critically acclaimed Hollywood films, like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, 7-Year Itch, and Some Like It Hot, before dying of an apparent overdose at age 36 in 1962. Charlize Theron. This breathtakingly beautiful South African actress arrived in Hollywood at age 18. At the time, she was living in a rundown hotel room while barely scraping by with the wages she was earning modeling in the Big Apple. Charlize was discovered by a talent agent after squabbling a bit with a bank teller who wouldn't let her cash her last paycheck. Charlize later reflected on the memory by telling Oprah she was merely trying to survive. If she wasn't able to cash that check, she wouldn't have had a roof over her head that night. The Oscar-winning actress recalls desperately pleading with the teller, begging him to understand her plight, when suddenly a gentleman in a suit came over and attempted to lend her a hand. With his help, she was able to open up a new account only after filling out a pile of paperwork to cash the check. Afterwards, the man who helped her revealed he worked for a talent agency and thought she could be Hollywood's next blonde bombshell. Charlize landed her breakthrough role in the horror film Children of the Corn 3: Urban Harvest several months later. Less than a year after that, she was given a role in Tom Hanks' directorial debut, That Thing You Do. Johnny Depp. On an average day, Johnny had nothing better to do, so he decided to go to an open audition for a role in Nightmare of Elm Street with his buddy Jackie Earle Haley. Depp wasn't really all that interested in the part himself, but he did want to support his longtime friend. While poor Jackie Boy didn't get the part, director Wes Craven spotted Depp at the audition and thought he had potential. After Depp was asked to audition, he landed the role of Glenn, who, as any of you who have seen it before, was involved in one of the more unnerving and iconic kill scenes in horror film history. Depp would go on to become one of the highest paid and most celebrated actors in Hollywood. Recently, however, he's also found himself wrapped up in a heaping pile of controversies. Matthew McConaughey. Texas native Matthew McConaughey had very little desire to follow in his dad's footprints by diving into the oil business. In time, however, he did discover he wanted to become an actor. At first, he was only able to score a few forgettable roles in TV commercials and low-budget student films. But while staying at an Austin area hotel, Matthew had a chance encounter with a producer and casting director who ended up pulling some strings and introducing him to Richard Linklater. This meeting, as unlikely as it might have been, got the ball rolling to eventually land him his iconic role in Linklater's cult classic Dazed and Confused. At the time, Linklater thought McConaughey was perhaps too attractive for the role, especially since the film's script called for him to be a little bit of an older sleazeball. Brushing aside his reservations, Linklater decided to give Matthew a chance anyway. He instructed him to grow out his hair a bit and don a mustache, and a star was born. And to think, the world almost missed out on McConaughey's all right line. Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman was born in Jerusalem, but when she was 9 years old, she was out with her family getting pizza on Long Island when a rep from Revlon Cosmetics saw her and thought she had the right look to get into modeling. The actress quickly grew jaded from working in the modeling industry, but was able to leverage her success into finding roles as an actress. Not long after appearing in a few bit parts in TV shows, she made her feature film debut in The Professional, portraying a young girl who learns how to be an assassin. These days, Portman has more than 30 acting credits under her belt, including her performance in the Academy Award-winning Black Swan. Evangeline Lilly. Canadian actress Evangeline Lilly was strolling around the streets in British Columbia when she was spotted by a talent agent for Ford Modeling Agency. At the time, she had no interest in modeling or acting, but was strapped for cash. She ended up landing a few minor roles in TV ads and non-speaking roles in shows like Smallville, but she landed her big break after auditioning for the role of Kate Austen on ABC's Lost. That series, despite its polarizing ending, ended up becoming one of the network's most significant hits, airing for 6 seasons from 2004 to 2010. For her role, she wound up taking home a Screen Actors Guild Award and receiving a Golden Globe nod. After portraying Kate for 6 years, Evangeline went on to appear in films like Real Steel, The Hurt Locker, Ant-Man, and The Hobbit. John Wayne. The Duke was initially a football player at USC with dreams of going pro, but thanks to a collarbone injury, he ended up losing his scholarship. Not knowing how he would pay for the rest of his education, he decided to think out of the box and carpe diem his way into success. His old football coach often gave Western star Tom Mix a couple of tickets to USC games. As a thank you for the free tickets, Mix's pal, director John Ford, decided to give Wayne a job working in the props department at Fox Studios. Wayne continued to diligently work at Fox, soaking up every bit of intel he could pertaining to showbiz. Eventually, he graduated to working as an extra, and in time, his hard work and perseverance, not to mention his relationship with Ford, paid off when he scored his big break as one of the stars of the film Stagecoach. Now it's time to hear from you. Does it make an actor or actress more endearing and likable to find out that they got their big break by chance, or does it make them seem lucky? Let us know in the comments section below.